Welcome to this episode of Season 4 of The Common Bridge, where policy and current events are discussed in a fiercely nonpartisan manner. The host, Richard Helppie, is a philanthropist, entrepreneur, and political analyst who has reached over 3.5 million listeners, viewers, and readers around the world. The Common Bridge is available on the Substack website and the Substack app. Just search for The Common Bridge. You can find the program on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. The Common Bridge draws guests and audiences from across the political spectrum, and we invite you to become a free or paid subscriber on your favorite medium.
Hi, I'm Rich Helppie. We here at the Common Bridge hope you've had a great holiday season, and we'd like to wish each and every one a wonderful new year. 2022 was a fascinating year in news, politics, and public policy. We separated ourselves a little more from COVID lockdowns in 2021. We got through an election without the world falling apart, and lots more on our Common Bridge program. We covered everything, including MIAs and POWs from World War II with Paul Schwimmer, the Russian invasion of Ukraine with Professor Anthony Colangelo, and it was great having Professor back a couple of times. We talked about healthcare reform with Wright Lassiter, and we talked about the threat of illegal fentanyl with Derek Maltz. And of course, ranked choice voting and other voting systems with Rob Ritchie, among others. We did 52 episodes last year, and those were just some of them. We had some great guests come into our studio in 2022. Dr. James Baker came back again, and he was in studio to bring us up to date on lessons learned from the COVID pandemic. Robert Greenfield came in from Perth, Australia, to talk about perhaps they didn't learn too much from the pandemic down under. And recently, Dr. Victor Hong was here to talk about mental health issues. So it was great having some of our guests in the studio this year. It was an incredible year for the Common Bridge, and I want to thank you all for that, as our audience has grown nearly fivefold in the last 12 months, as we've included Substack as one of our channels. The Common Bridge is also a small part of an emerging new media model. According to a recent Gallup poll, just 7% of Americans have a great deal of trust and confidence in the existing mass media. And what's more, 38% say they have no trust at all in newspapers, television, or the radio. The revelations about Twitter, which frankly could have been and might someday be the public square, further damages the expectation of integrity in our government, mass media, and now big tech platforms. So, along with my gratitude, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the Common Bridge on Substack. And here's why. You can be part of that emerging new media model. In 2023, we are going to be moving more and more of our content to Substack. I'm encouraging you, our listeners, and our viewers to comment on our shows on that platform. Now, you have to scroll down, and it can be a little clunky, but it's worth a few extra clicks. So just go to Substack.com and search for the Common Bridge. In 2023, we will be offering more content and more discussions on Substack. And unlike Facebook and Instagram and such, where oftentimes people will just drop comments based on the title graphic that they see, and perhaps they don't really listen or watch the content as much as we'd like, Substack is where we'll engage you a lot more. And I'll engage you with comments, as will my guests, for more depth and insight. We find that those of you who comment on Substack have been very interesting for us, and many of you, of course, communicate through the private channels that we have set up. And we find that if you're a very dedicated listener and viewer and reader, you've got some grasp of the issue at hand, and you're willing to expose yourself to new data, new facts, and perhaps new perspectives. We also would like to invite those of you that want to write guest columns to please submit them. We sometimes publish those, and you would get a really great audience that is now over 3.5 million people worldwide. So please think about that. So again, let me thank everyone for being a reader, a listener, or a viewer of The Common Bridge. And we'll continue to find common ground and have discussions about policy, current events, and all of that without the fog and distortion of affirmation media. That's been our mantra all along, and we think we've delivered that. So have a great year in 2023, and here's to a happy new year for all of you. This is Rich Helppie, signing off on The Common Bridge.
Thanks for joining us on The Common Bridge. Subscribe to The Common Bridge on Substack.com or use their Substack app, where you can find more interviews, columns, videos, and nonpartisan discussions of the day. Just search for The Common Bridge. You can also find The Common Bridge on Mission Control Radio on your Radio Garden app.